All right, ladies and gentlemen, new Kohberger Iwitness report comes out. Ain't it crazy how this stuff comes out only after all this mess? So let's take a look at what Miss Nancy Grace is talking about. Let's check it out here. Let me post her in my chat. And description. All right, let's take a listen.
I guess I have to spell it out for Joe Scott Morgan and Dr. Bethany Marshall, but I need the help of Dr. Monty Miller joining us, Director, Forensic DNA Expert Specialist, and
believes in Mr. Kohberger's innocence.
Okay, well, she may be firm in her belief, but a grand jury has handed down an indictment to Truebill charging him with 4 murders, the murders of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students, dead, slaughtered in their beds. And tonight, we learned the eyewitness states the killer fled the scene with a hand vac. Listen.
Hippler's ruling also revealed new details of what surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen saw the night of the murders. In the closed-door hearing, the defense attempts to argue Mortensen's account is unreliable, and while the judge agrees Mortensen was likely drunk during the murders, he points out that her statements to police were very similar each time, and other evidence corroborates what she witnessed. Hippler reveals that in Mortensen's second and third interviews, she mentions the suspect carrying what looked to be a handheld vacuum.
Oh, according to reports, that is so Kohberger with a handheld vac. Who else would do that? Now, guys.
All right, she's kind of right about that. Now, why would he do that? I don't know. Maybe the guy was training to be a forensic guy. Maybe he wanted to make sure he vacuumed up all of his hair or any DNA. Who knows? Maybe he took it for, who knows why? Why would you take a vacuum? Why would you take a vacuum? I have no idea. Are you telling me that this woman that was there seen him, heard all this stuff, but yet didn't call the police? Did you hear a vacuum going? Was the vacuum actually running is what we should be asking. I mean, I don't understand it. Let's keep watching.
Let me go straight out to Hermania Rodriguez joining us, Chief U.S. Reporter with DailyMail.com and host of Welcome to Magaland podcast. No politics on crime stories, okay? No crime victim is a political football. So everybody keep your politics to yourself. Back to the hand vac. Hermania, what do you know?
That's right. These new court documents are offering new details about the investigation that led police to Brian Kohberger. We know that there were surviving roommates that were in the house, and one of them said that she saw a bushy-eyed man. We know Kohberger's eyebrows have been a topic of debate after this surviving witness said they saw a white, tall man with bushy eyebrows. Now we know that she also said in following interviews that he was carrying
Okay, that's bushy. Wait a minute. Hermania, look. Hold it. That is bushy. Go ahead.
Correct. That has been a topic of discussion. And that part of the witness's testimony has never changed the description of what the suspect looked like. However, it appears that in her initial interviews, she hadn't mentioned the handheld vacuum. Now, we know that this witness has said her mind wasn't clear, that she was kind of in a dreamlike state. Of course, Kohberger's team of lawyers have gone after this young woman's credibility, saying that what she is saying cannot be trusted because she admitted to being in a not clear state of mind. Now, the judge said that even if
Put Hermania up. Put her up. Hermania, I asked you about the handheld vac. And so far, what I've heard is everything wrong with the eyewitness's statement. Can you tell me about the vacuum? I'll give Dubé a chance to slice the poor witness to shreds before I sew her back together again. Vacuum, Hermania.
Right. So as I said, the surviving roommate said she saw the suspect, bushy, eyebrowed suspect, leaving with a handheld vacuum. She also had said, as we already knew, that the suspect said something like, "I'm here to help," before he exited their home through a sliding door quietly. This witness has said she then went back to sleep, wasn't clear on what happened, but she has repeated in several interviews this detail about the handheld vacuum.
Well, obviously, it stood out in her mind. She says, "Oh, my stars. He had a hand vac." That's not the kind of detail you can insert into someone's memory. Okay, I need to shrink before Dubé jumps on this. Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, a psychoanalyst joining us out of LA, author of Deal Breakers. You can find her at drbethanymarshall.com. You can see her now on Peacock. Dr. Bethany, it doesn't end there. Everybody on the panel, I want you to envision what you have in your closet, what you keep in the deep, dark recesses in the back of your closet. Okay, now listen to this.
The defense also argues that Moscow PD failed to disclose that lab testing did not reveal any of the victim's DNA in Kohberger's car or apartment, but a search warrant return did list a vacuum canister having been removed from a closet in Kohberger's Pullman apartment, where investigators also found a black glove and receipts. Kohberger's shower curtains had been removed and all trash cans were empty.
Wow, he's certainly the neat Nick. There's a lot there to dissect, but can we just talk about the fact that in his closet, in the back, dark, deep recesses of his closet, he has a vacuum canister, a spare. Do you have one of those in your closet by all your designer shoes, Dr. Bethany? I bet you don't.
I do not.
Can we talk about the killer with a hand vac? What does it say?
Well, Nancy, we use hand vacs to clean things up, right? So obviously he was anticipating a messy scene and the fact that he would need to clean things up, or he was looking for tokens or fetishes or something he could suck up before he left, so he would have something to play with, toy with. But I think it's likely that it was just an instrument for cleaning after the commission of a crime, which obviously he got scared off and he didn't complete.
Okay, maybe I'm the crazy one on this panel, but I guess I have to spell it out for Joe Scott Morgan and Dr. Bethany Marshall, but I need the help of Dr. Monty Miller joining us, Director of Forensic DNA Expert Specialist in Forensic Science, Forensic Scientist for Texas Department of Public Safety, and it goes on and on. You can find Dr. Monty Miller at crimelabforensicdnaexperts.com. Dr. Monty Miller, okay, address on the blackboard, spell it out for me. Why would a killer bring a hand vac to a murder scene?
Yeah, I mean, did he bring it or did he take it from there? Yeah, I mean, you would only bring it for, to clean up, to like vacuum stuff off of you, and things like that, so that you wouldn't leave it in your car. So he might have just brought his own and then kind of used it to clean himself up so that he doesn't leave a mess in his car. They didn't find anything in his car, and maybe because he cleaned up.
Obviously, he took the hand vac to get rid of evidence. And no, he did not steal their vacuum cleaner. He took the vacuum cleaner with him. The only question is why. I'm going to give Joe Scott Morgan another.
Well, probably the guy was trained to do it, right? And I imagine the other cases that they're looking at involving Brian Kohberger that you folks have not heard about yet. I imagine he did the same thing. He came prepared. Gloves, maybe even booties, or whatever they call them, footies or whatever. And maybe he had a uniform from his crime lab or whatever he was studying to be, a criminologist or whatever. Who knows? But you got to be crazy. He brought it with him. So this means he goes in, excuse me, he goes in, he does the murders, he walks back out to his car and grabs a vacuum cleaner, goes back into the house, uses the vacuum cleaner to clean up any DNA, any hair follicles, anything. And then as he's leaving, he's seen by this girl that lived there walking out with a vacuum cleaner. And she didn't say, oh, well, I heard somebody vacuum. I heard a bunch of people screaming, oh, help me, help me. And then I heard a vacuum cleaner. You know, for half an hour, somebody was cleaning. Did he even know there was other people in the house? Here's the thing. These people are in the house and they do nothing. Not even pick up a phone to call 911. Nothing. They wait for the guy to completely leave. They claim they went to bed and woke up in the morning and seen all this madness. And the phone records proved that was a lie. This is crazy. This is just crazy. Completely crazy. And why this is all happening, there's actually a police officer on the next street pulling these kids over or talking to these 4 or 5 kids that were cutting through. You have a camera that picks up a disturbance and the dog barking 500 feet away. But yet these cops that are on the street right there don't hear nothing. Don't hear a dang thing. You know, that's kind of crazy if you ask me.
Other swing at the ball. Be succinct.
So you're telling me that he thought so far ahead that he's going to bring a handheld vac with him in addition to a knife, and he's going to take time to utilize this vacuum cleaner in order to clean up. What's he going to clean up? All of the wet blood in there? Because it's not going to work. This guy's supposed to be some kind of forensic genius. Remember, they've talked about this forever and ever. This is not going to be appropriate for the task at hand. I can't imagine.
Why would he put him up? Joe Scott, my friend and colleague. He brings a hand vac to the scene. That's what prosecutors are going to argue to clean up evidence. Was that feasible? Did it make sense? No. But think. Use that noodle. Joe Scott, what does he do for a living? He teaches forensic science, criminology.
Stop conflating what he does with forensic science. I've gone over this over and over and over again. He is studying criminology.
You're just saying that because you're a forensic professor and you don't like him equated with you. He's a PhD student and criminologist. He's a TA, a teaching assistant.
In criminology, not forensic science. Okay? Just because I don't know.
Okay, he certainly knows Joe Scott. You know what? Let's just everybody stipulate.
So criminology is a psychological thing, right? He's he also does forensics. That's part of criminology, right? He dissects, he profiles, he looks at crime scenes. He does. Hello, Kelp. How you doing? And he does all this stuff. So Miss Nancy Grace said, well, he was studying to be a forensic evidence. Well, he might as well have been, because that's pretty much what a criminologist does, right? But the whole thing of bringing a vacuum, this is nuts. You're telling me he just walked into the house with the vacuum? He walks in with the vacuum? I'm here to kill you, folks. With a vacuum? Right? Now, that ain't going to clean up the blood. No. But it will clean up the hair. Anything on them, any follicles on the body, the bed, the carpet, anything. Because there was a struggle. And I imagine they might have grabbed his hair or scratched his hand or arm. And he had hair or something, DNA, whatever, to clean it up. That's possible. It's very possible. But how does, my thing is these people witnessed it. They heard the commotion. They heard people begging for their lives to help them. They don't do anything. And then supposedly the witnesses say, oh, well, we were sleeping. Well, who's the witness? The girls that were in the house. So it's obvious they were not sleeping. Were they? No, because if they seen someone come out of the house, a tall guy with white man with a bushy eyebrows, they weren't sleeping, right? They heard the whole thing. They knew something was going on. No one did nothing. Not a dang thing. They were calling people, but not the police. Sounds like they study cases or study cause patterns and prevention of crime, not necessarily the DNA blood splatter. No. But I imagine that he was familiar with it. I mean, he was training around other people that were forensic. He was a criminologist or whatever. The study of crime, and that makes sense because his Reddit ad asking people to come and be interviewed, but only people that have killed. Only people that have killed. Which, that's kind of freaky himself, doing his own studies outside of the school. Right? Now, how many people answered his ad out there? Who knows? It could have been hundreds. It could have been thousands. It could have been 5,000. We don't know. Right? And then was he communicating with these people? And was he traveling around and meeting these people and they were killing people? Yeah, very possible. Let's keep going. Kelp, I'm looking through my coffee table, so your comment's a little bit blurry. I had to move to read it, but yeah, you're probably right. The cause of death and the patterns of prevention of crime, not necessarily the DNA blood splatter act. No, but I can guarantee you Kohberger knew about it, right? He probably knew about it.
Wait, he's no Joe Scott Morgan. Now,
No,
that
he's no
said,
forensic
with
scientist.
his limited understanding as a student of criminology, he takes a hand vac to the murder scene thinking somehow he's going to get rid of evidence. Obviously, that's not feasible, but in his mind, having only got book learning about crime, I mean, why else would he bring a hand vac to the scene? Again, be succinct.
He's not going to bring a handheld vac to the scene. I don't believe it. I'm just not buying. This is what he brought to the scene.
Okay, so are you saying he
That's what he
stole
brought
it?
to the
Are you
scene.
saying he stole it? Did he steal
I'm-
the hand vac?
what I'm
Goes through
saying
the
is
whole
we
house and
have to
steals
go
a hand
back.
vac.
We have to go back
Well, then are you
The
saying the
witness-
witness is lying?
No, I'm saying that she's not remembering correctly is what I'm saying. You know, bushy eyebrows, face covered, it's dark. You know, she's saying that he also had a handheld vac. Give me a break.
Okay, so you
I'm
are
not
accepting
buying.
part of her description, but not the other part, because
Yeah.
you, a
So
professor
was
of
that
forensics,
handheld vac like
doesn't think it's
Dustbuster
feasible. You know what? Let me just
that you
jog
use in
everyone's
your car?
recollection.
Very
Listen,
common.
A
and
police
also
source
use
says
it at
Brian
your house.
Kohberger cleaned his
Dustbuster.
car meticulously, both inside and out, in the days leading up to his arrest. The source, speaking anonymously, says during the 4 days of surveillance at the Kohberger family's Pennsylvania home, the suspect was seen detailing his white Hyundai Elantra, quote, not missing an inch. Some of the trash taken from the car was deposited in a neighbor's trash bin at 4 a.m. Agents recovered the garbage, and some items were sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. Detectives also seized a car vacuum reportedly used to clean out the vehicle.
okay, Dr. Bethany Marshall, that's what we call a pattern. Am wearing underwear, shorts, and plastic gloves at his parents' house. He's putting, I guess, evidence into separate plastic bags, putting them in the Dixie dumpster and putting them in the neighbor's trash, wearing plastic gloves. When they go to his home, his apartment in Pullman, 10 minutes away from the murder scene, his apartment is meticulous, no trash in the trash cans, and he has destroyed, gotten rid of his shower curtain. Think. Of course, he took a hand vac to the murder scene. In his limited understanding of what a murder scene really is, you know, he's seen pictures and read books. He thinks he can remove forensic evidence. It fits perfectly with what we know of him.
Okay, so Nancy, I think
All right, this would explain too when they sprayed aluminol in the house that they did find somewhat of footprints, uh, bloody, but you couldn't see them, right? You couldn't see them. Why? Because they were cleaned up. Someone cleaned it up. You don't do a murder like that. I mean, they're saying it was a bloody massacre, right? You got blood all over you. You know you're going to have blood on your shoes, on your hands, on your whatever. But yet no track of any blood coming in and out of there until they sent in people and then they said, well, there was footprints coming out of the bedroom, but it appeared to be someone made an attempt to clean it up. So, and was that even the truth that we were hearing? Right? I just can't get past the 5 or 6 or 7 hours where no one called anybody. This traumatic thing, even if she was drunk, even if she was high, whatever, she seen it. She heard it. We know everyone heard it. How do you pick this up 500 feet away on a camera, which they're saying, oh, well, that was the argument and everything, and the dog barking, right? 500 feet away, and the people in the house don't hear nothing. Not good, man. It's just not right. Let me check my chat. Oh, look at the hand vac, but left the knife in the sheath. Or he left the sheath, not the knife, right? They found the knife at his house. Or they haven't found the knife, I don't think. But we have to find out what they're talking about. A handheld vacuum. Well, I have one of them, a dustbuster. Right? It's real small. You can carry it around in the car with you. It plugs into a lighter. You also have ones that are at home uh, that you can use. The small ones, they plug in, they charge up, uh, and you can vacuum with it. Now, could I see him walking in with a dust buster and a knife? Yes, because a dust buster is nothing. It's a small thing, right? And he'd clean up his evidence or whatever, his hair follicles or whatever. But a real vacuum. Are you kidding me? This guy is that brazen. You don't do something like that. The only way you could do something like that and get away with it is if it was planned, and if you had help on the inside. There is no way, And Debbie Fox was saying last night when she was in chat uh, that he could have took a shower. Uh, and took a shower and cleaned up before he left. Well, yeah, if there was people there. He knew it because they said they seen him. They seen somebody in a dark shadow or whatever in the house walking around. Come on. No one called. No one said. And you're hearing people begging you to help them. A struggle when how does a struggle happen and you hear it 200-300 feet away on the camera, but the people in the house hear nothing? Bull crap. But is it possible he took a shower? Yes. Like Debbie was saying, do you think he took a shower? Yeah, he could have. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, if he was there and these other two girls that survived weren't giving him any trouble or actually were helping him, or maybe they're even the two girls that were survived, their boyfriends might have been helping him. Then yes, it's possible if he was in no worries and he had cover, he had someone helping him, then yes, it's very possible, like Debbie was saying, that he took a shower right there before he walked out. And the vacuum was only for DNA, hair follicles, and anything else. And that's very possible. I call BS that 4 people being murdered sounds the same as the others side, the other shit that happened at the party house. Yeah. Once again, I'm looking through my glass coffee table to read your comments. So, isn't Nancy Grace that old bat that showed up at the Delphi trial and stayed for 2 minutes? I don't know. She's a good reporter, and she don't take crap from anybody. She even gets on her own panel and gets mad at them. I'm like, why does she? That's your people you help, right?
I think he's obsessive compulsive, and we see this in his meticulous planning to commit this crime. He probably researched it. There's probably evidence in his computers. He probably thought about it day and night, probably prepared the car, prepared the handbag to take there, and he probably meticulously studied the house. So criminals who want to commit homicide, not only are they compulsive, meaning they can't discharge and neutralize anxiety without committing an act, but they also become so obsessed with every single detail.
Joining me now, we've been holding him at bay, renowned defense attorney joining us out of LA, Philip Dubé. Okay.
I'm sorry, Philip. I'm really sorry, but you need some sun. I know you don't want to venture outside. You might burst into flames, but you need some sun, my man. I mean, it's just you're scaring. You actually look like a wax figure that we make in movies. It's just scary. My other comment that I want to make, which I already forgot because this guy spooked me when he came up. Let me see what Kel said. I must tell you, Mr. Johnny, I'm 2 shades shy of being an albino. You know, white looks good on a woman. A man, I kind of, I don't, is he going to bite me? Is he a vampire? That's what I'm thinking right now. What's under his eye? Is that a teardrop tattoo underneath his right eye? I don't know. What are we dealing with? What are we dealing with? Right? What are we dealing with? Madmen and women. That's what we're dealing with. I'm a victim, and YouTube abused me. Abuse. Now, let me keep going with this. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. It'll come back to me here in a minute.
Have at it.
Have it what? I mean, listen, a lot of unsophisticated criminals think that a dustbuster is going to pick up all shedding, slough off, and trace evidence. It's ridiculous.
Did you just say dust?
It's not going to happen. You're going to leave behind minuscule pieces of hair follicles, skin follicles. You're going to leave behind dust, your own DNA, your own touch DNA. And to think that a dustbuster is going to clean up the scene is actually laughable. And frankly, this could support the argument that maybe he is a little on the spectrum.